You would think so, but that wouldn't be the case. 604 Talk 107.3 FM at WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, JP producing, getting ready for a brand new, fresh new week. Oh, man. All right, we got a lot to cover this morning. Oh, wait, I forgot to give you the temperature. Hang on. That's on me. 73 degrees to start off your Monday morning. I'll take it. Even with what's out in the Atlantic, which we will get to later on. We've got a lot of ground to cover. This is one of those hodgepodge shows, one of those ADD shows where we are all over the place. I know, as opposed to that's what you get with this show. It's a little bit of everything. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Thanks to Betsy Barnes for filling in on Friday. John, JP, how'd she do?
That was good. That was a good show.
Yep.
I hope everyone would agree as well. I enjoyed it.
So
I had a great time.
We just a little bit behind the curtain there.
Yeah.
I may or may not have confirmed with her beforehand. So we may or may not have been hustling, the two of us, both of us hustling for guests the day before so that I could get out of here. The rest of the story there is I took Friday off. My wife and I, and our two youngers as well, moved our oldest into her dorm on Friday. I know it's early. She's taking part in this jump scholarship program where it's like this immersive thing for 3 weeks or whatever. So, but that's what we did on Friday. We moved her into the dorm. So we were not in the state on Friday. But awesome. Glad to hear it was good.
Yes.
Appreciate Betsy for filling in. All right. We got a lot of ground to cover. So let's get right to it. Top stories and trending.
Number 5.
School will be in this week in East Baton Rouge Parish, Livingston Parish, and a number of surrounding parishes. In fact, some parishes, I shouldn't say some parishes, some places around the state, school is in as of today. But for EBR and Livingston, it'll be coming up on Thursday. And, man, scrolling through my news feeds, if you haven't gotten free supplies from somewhere, you're just not trying.
Number 4.
A fundraiser was held for an injured Baton Rouge police officer Saturday at Goodwood Hardware on Jefferson Highway. Hosts put on a car show, silent auction, and live DJ for Caleb Eisworth. Police say Eisworth was intentionally rammed by a truck while on duty back in June. As a result, he did lose both of his legs. The person who hit him, Gad Black, was charged with attempted first-degree murder of a police officer.
Number 3.
In an issue ordered Friday evening, Supreme Court justices called for a briefing on whether the intentional creation of a second majority-minority congressional district violates the 14th or 15th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution. This came down Friday, and this is a pivotal part of the case challenging Louisiana's new congressional map. Buckle up, baby. We're going to talk about this with Moon at 8:15.
Number 2.
BRPD officers working two separate shootings that happened less than an hour apart yesterday evening. They say two people were hurt in a shooting along South Park Drive on Sunday afternoon. They were taken to a hospital just before 5 p.m. Shortly after that, another shooting was reported at the Warwick Apartments on Jefferson Highway, where police say one person was hurt.
Number 1.
A Central woman was killed by her boyfriend in a domestic murder-suicide Sunday, less than 2 months after a protective order was filed on her behalf. According to parish records, the protective order was filed back on June 25th against 54-year-old Paul Varnado, ordering him not to go within 100 yards of his girlfriend, 54-year-old Alana Singleton. Varnado was booked and then released after signing a protective order, which he did not abide by. 6 weeks later, deputies say he shot and killed her before killing himself at a home along Arlene Avenue. What you got there, JP, with trending?
A federal appeals court ruled Friday night to uphold a lower court's temporary order blocking the Trump administration from conducting indiscriminate immigration stops and arrests in Southern California.
I'm going to get myself in trouble right here.
Whoa, snap.
I saw a meme. I saw this meme a couple months ago, and then I saw it again yesterday. You know how when you go to a convenience store, they got the big ice machine outside, with the bags of ice?
Oh, man.
As somebody just has a picture of a big ice thing, and they say, oh, look, they got drop boxes now.
No.
Oh.
No.
How do people's minds work?
It's the same when you see the guy coming through the door with the bag of ice. He's like, ice, ice. And it's like, everyone's scattered.
Everyone's scattered.
Oh, it's terrible.
It is.
Terrible,
awful.
man.
We don't condone that behavior.
No, absolutely not. Hey, Southern Classic Chicken is causing a traffic jam. Well, causing traffic jams in Sherwood.
Like literally every day since they've opened, they've got police out there directing traffic. Like it's chicken. And I can even understand. I'll give you day one.
Mhm.
I'll give you day one, but it's fried chicken. Day 4, day 5, like yesterday,
Wow.
jammed up on Sherwood for Southern Classic Chicken. And the owners, if I'm not mistaken, the original owners, they're from Shreveport. Man, no, go to bed. How
I'm
did
from Shreveport.
we gonna?
Look, it must be good, right? It's got to be good. And maybe people just
Define
want
that
some.
though. It's fried
Right.
chicken.
I
It's
know.
deep fried. There's a huge margin for error. You're throwing it in grease at what? 400-degree grease, 350 to 400-degree grease. Like at a certain point,
Maybe they do it different. Maybe it's 410,
yeah.
410 degrees.
I think the hype train got to Sherwood before the
maybe.
chicken did.
Maybe. But I don't know. I'm intrigued.
And look,
I guess people want something different.
I agree. You can do chicken bad. You can do chicken good,
Yeah.
right? And it's not based off of the price.
Yeah.
It's based off of like you can do it bad. That's
Yeah.
plain and simple. All right, but there's a limit, right? This is fried chicken. We're not talking like Wagyu steak, right? We're not talking. Oh, look at the marbling. Like we're not talking about.
Right.
I don't know. I'm baffled.
Really?
Baffled.
You know what else is baffling?
What?
Lonnie Anderson died yesterday.
I know.
The WKRP and Cincinnati star was 79 years old.
Yep. And I heard about her death. Well, I saw it online last night. And then I heard it 3 times this morning on the radio. And it got me to thinking, this is going to be reported on the radio more than anywhere else.
Yeah.
You know why?
Well,
Because she started a TV show about the radio.
Yes, that's what I was
It's like
gonna say, yeah.
anybody who was watching WKRP growing up is probably in charge at a radio station right now.
Oh, for sure.
You know, I caught it on like TV Land or whatever.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
So you called like the reruns and
Yeah.
things like that? Yeah.
Yeah. But like, if you are in your late 50s to early 60s,
Oh, yeah.
WKRP was probably your groove. That was probably your show, and it probably influenced you as to what you were going to do for a living.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt at all. And I believe, what was it, just prolonged illness that
Yeah.
took her out eventually?
Yeah.
Just,
I think you're right about that.
yeah.
We can go back and double check. Either way, ridiculous talent was really good on the show.
Yeah.
We're at 611 at Talk 107. Oh, rolling over to 612 at Talk 107.3 FM. Got to mention the folks over at Vex European, VEX, Vex European. My guy Vinny and his team been doing it right over there. Where are they? They're on the backside of Industrialplex. What do? They specialize in repairing and maintaining European vehicles, specifically European vehicles. They'll have a master technician for Mercedes, BMW, Jaguar, Land Rover, Audi, Porsche, you name it. They've got, click on the little vehicles tab at vexeuropean.com to see if your vehicle's on there before going over there. Your next stop, by the way, and here's the pro tip, hit the specials tab. See if you can save $100 on your first visit. I did it. I use Vinny all the time, Vinny and his team all the time over there at Vex European. I highly, highly recommend them. VexEuropean.com. Quick break. We got a lot of sports to cover next. If anyone is curious as to whether or not I just lost it emotionally with dropping off my daughter, I did not. Thought I was going to. I was ready for it. I was ready for the waterworks. Closest I came was actually in church yesterday. I don't know what it was, but like we weren't super active in our parish until Carrie went to pre-K.
Yeah.
And it occurred to me like, golly, for the first time in 14 years,
Wow.
we're here without like. I mean, it's not the first time she hasn't been with us, but like.
But knowing that the family's gonna look a little different, times are changing. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a dad, you never know what you can expect from those things, right? You don't know.
You don't know.
You expect.
I
But
thought
then-
I was going to be waterworks at graduation, and I wasn't.
Right.
I thought I was going to be waterworks when we dropped her off. I wasn't.
Hmm.
Now I'm questioning whether or not I'm a sociopath.
Oh man. Yeah, I guess you never know how it's gonna hit you.
There we go. That's better. Now I can read that. .616 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We're gonna get you to LSU football in just a minute. Want to start off with a shout out to the Baton Rouge Rougarou though, winning their first ever Texas Collegiate League championship. Reading from our news partners at WBRZ because I was elsewhere while this was going on, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. Rougarou took down the defending Texas League champions, the Victoria Generals, 6-2 at Pete Goolsbee Field. The night started with a back-and-forth battle, each team scoring their first run for a tied ball game in the third. In the bottom of the fourth, the Rougarou would take a 3-1 lead after Bennett Claymore hit a 2 RBI double to right center field. Generals tried to catch up with one more run in the sixth, but the Rougarou put the game away with a run in the bottom of the seventh and then 2 more in the eighth. With the win and the championship trophy, the Baton Rouge Rougarou have completed their best season in franchise history. I tell you, we're already looking forward to next year. Every year, the job that Ronnie and Casey and all of them are doing over there at Pete Goolsbee Field is getting a little bit more firm into the culture of Baton Rouge. It's seeing them over there doing this on this level. It's like the extension of baseball season for us. And it has been phenomenal. And the job they do, first of all, the job they've done at Pete Goolsbee Field is phenomenal. But the games themselves are a legitimate good time. The baseball is top-notch because it's dudes working on their game to get better for next year. But what we saw this year was dudes working on their game plus a team mentality where you're seeking greatness as a team. This was the next level for the Rougarou. This was where they needed to go this year. Even if they didn't pull down the championship, which they did, but even if they didn't, they moved it up a notch or two. So I'm looking forward to what we can see from them in the future. But good on them. Good on the Rougarou for pulling down the Texas Collegiate League championship. Meanwhile, LSU will begin their first full week of preseason camp today. They took yesterday off. On Saturday, you saw Jawan Johnson at running back. He was a record-breaking quarterback at Lafayette Christian. He started at LSU as a defensive back, but moved to running back during his freshman season. Took snaps at quarterback in the spring. On Saturday, back at running back. Where's he going to fit in? Well, our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network asked that of offensive tackle Tyree Adams.
Just the position flexibility that he has, he's one of the best athletes that we have on this team. And I know no matter where you put him, he will shine. Because that's what happened in high school, and that's why we recruited him here. So I know anywhere that he goes, he's gonna make a difference and make plays.
Finding multiple spots to make plays is that's going to be some of the fun of this season. The defense has shown that it can compete with LSU's explosive offense during the first few days. Linebacker West Weeks says the defensive playbook is bigger this year with Blake Baker in his second year.
We all know our job, and now it's the details of all right, we can disguise this to throw off a QB. We're trying to bunt. We're trying to show different stuff. We're trying to cause a lot more confusion. So we all know coming into our second year with Coach Baker, we know exactly what we need to do. Now it's just disguising everything and playing mind games with the QB.
Countdown is on to August 30th. They'll be taking on Clemson at Clemson on August 30th. That is the beginning of the season. And, of course, all season long, all your LSU Tigers action is right down the hall on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. I'm fired up, man. And there's a lot to be looking forward to this year. Here comes the Fox Business Report. All right, Nan Hayworth is supposed to call us at 6:35. Good morning. So I'm taking off next Monday, and now I'm thinking about taking off next Tuesday as well. And I'm going to see if I can talk Christy into playing hooky. And we're just going to drive to Hattiesburg to watch all the other parents move in. Just like set up a table. Set up a table and a couple tailgate chairs. Maybe fire up the tabletop grill.
There you go.
You know? Just watch other parents move their kids in.
Yeah.
We're just sit there in tailgate chairs drinking beers at 8 in the morning.
Consoling other dads. It's going to be all right, man.
It's going to be fine, dude.
It's going to be fine.
No, it's just like total ass about, hey, that looks heavy. That looks heavy.
Oh, man.
Oh, when's moving day at LSU? We might have to do, hey, let's do a little talk about some of their moving day tailgate party.
Oh, it's here.
Shit already. All right. If you're out and about on the interstates right now or anywhere on the streets, just know that the countdown is on until the school zones are open. Of course, 7 a.m. is when they'll open. But that's later on in the week once schools get back in on Thursday and or Friday. Meanwhile, right now on I-12 westbound, you got some slowdowns in between Range Avenue and O'Neill Lane, basically coming across the bridge right there. Not enough to make you want to change your route, just enough to know that there's people around you. Then you're going to slow down again as you get towards the 10-12 merge, but it's really not that bad this morning. I-10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish looks great, as does 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge. I-110 is wide open as well. Hopping off the interstates to take a look at your surface streets. Let's see what we got going on that front. Up in Central, it's being reported that there's congestion, Jor at Gurney, but it's not being reported as to why. Don't know if that's an accident or not. And we can also tell you that right now is that Lobdell? Yeah, Lobdell Jefferson Highway at Government Street. Jefferson Highway at Government Street, you've got some congestion there, right there at that red light. But again, not enough to make you want to alter anything that you would normally be doing. And that's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. 624, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We got, okay. I'm going to try and squeeze three different things into this one segment here. It was a busy Saturday for your boy after getting back from dropping the oldest off at college on Friday. Saturday included a fantastic event. I mean, a top-notch event, a couple of top-notch events that I attended, and then a few more top-notch events that I didn't make it out to. Told you in Top Stories and Trending about the fundraiser for Caleb Eisworth. As I heard a couple different people who were able to attend that, and they said it could not have been run better. And, of course, supporting Caleb Eisworth is obviously, top of mind, going to be worthwhile every time folks can get out. I went to an event over at St. Michael High School. Ball for a Cause. My guy Zach West and the West Foundation putting on. There was a 3-on-3 tournament in the morning where you had I want to say there was an adult league over on the one, because St. Michael's has two gyms right next to each other. In the one gym they had my Abby, our middle child. She was playing in a 3-on-3 tournament, and then there was another one going on the other side. And they were all rotating which courts and whatnot. But after the 3-on-3 at about noon, you had BRPD versus NOPD. Now you're talking 5-on-5 full court basketball. And I got to tell you, my guy Zach, and we had Zach and Kyle in here, Kyle Callahan. We had them in here. They put on a show, y'all. This basketball game was every bit as good as watching college basketball. It was phenomenal. NOPD did beat BRPD. It was something like 54-49. It was tight. Come to find out later on, and this hasn't been confirmed yet, but NOPD might have bent the rules a little bit and brought in a ringer. Might have bent the rules and brought in a ringer. Now, they had one player who had played college basketball but was with NOPD now. That's cool. He's your guy. Understand that. But they may or may not have had somebody else on the roster who could hit from any spot on the court, take anybody off the dribble. He was phenomenal. I'm just sitting there watching him like, no way that guy's a cop. No way. No, when you've got that level of talent, you can tell he's a little bit younger. Like, with that level of talent, if he played ball, if he was playing a ball in college, that's one thing, because he looked young. But with that level of talent, he wasn't done with his game after college. Not the NBA, not the G League, but he would have been off somewhere else. Europe, Australia, China, wherever, playing ball somewhere. He was that good. And still, NOPD barely squeaked by BRPD. It was what and what. It was neck and neck the whole time. So
impressive.
Yeah. Ball for a Cause was awesome. And then I got to go to the other event that we were celebrating here, the Bobby Darin, Ned Fazzulo and his fabulous big band orchestra celebrating the hits of Bobby Darin. Blown away. So I've seen Ned and his orchestra perform before. This was a whole other level. He had 4 different singers performing along with the orchestra. Ned's daughter, MJ, is pipes, dude. Wow. Yeah. You know what? Like, sometimes when a person sings, you could tell they're technically accurate. They're technically very good. And then sometimes when a person sings, it fills the room. She fills the room. It's awesome. Great show from start to finish. And raised some money for Crime Stoppers, which was, an added bonus right there. I can't wait till Thursday when Don comes back in to talk about that a little bit further, because obviously we're very close with Crime Stoppers, and we want to see them get as much support as possible, especially when they don't get it from a governmental level. So that was fantastic. But bigger than that, though, saw Mayor President Sid Edwards and the St. George Mayor Dustin Yates. Saw them both out at Ball for the Cause. Oh, by the way, back to Ball for the Cause for just a second. Baton Rouge Fire took on St. George Fire, the two departments, in the second game, and not a whole lot of drop-off right there. That was another super competitive game between Baton Rouge Fire Department and St. George Fire Department. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Mayor Edwards was out at the basketball game for Ball for the Cause. So was Mayor Yates as well. And both of them making the appearance. But I want to talk about Mayor Edwards for just a second, because I'm seeing this guy everywhere now. Like, everywhere. It's getting to be where I'm starting to question if previous mayors ever showed up to anything. And I know they did. But did we just not run in the same circles? Was it not the same type of events? Mayor Edwards' schedule on Saturday, I was asking him about it because he went to the fundraiser for Caleb Eisworth. He had a whole string of things, and then yesterday he's got, or was it yesterday or Saturday when he had the school supplies, the giveaway for school supplies. It's just everywhere you turn, Mayor Edwards is showing up, and I'm starting to believe that is going to be contagious. I'm starting to believe that the more you see Mayor Edwards in places, the more everyone believes in what's trying to be done here in Baton Rouge. A reinvigoration of a little bit of pride within our community, a little bit of pride within our city. A little bit of showing up goes a long way. So shout out to the mayor for that. And for that matter, same for Dustin Yates as well. Starting St. George off on the right foot, showing up to support the St. George Fire Department as well, who did not bring in any college basketball players as ringers. All right, 6:30, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP News, Traffic, Weather. Dr. Nan Hayworth next.
Yeah, she's on the line.
Oh, she's early. That's awesome. Cool. You told her to be about 5 minutes?
Yeah, I told her it'd be longer than that. And she was like, it's okay if I wait, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
fine.
Always. I still haven't given the full rundown for today. I still haven't even told. Like,
True, yeah.
it's just been super duper busy though.
Oh, yeah.
I was bumping around Facebook Reels last night, and Parish Construction and Roofing, they were giving away $10,000 to just as a contest.
Yeah.
And Moscona asks Terrio, Matt Moscona, Ryan Terrio, two of the owners of Parish. Also, afternoon drive on 104.5. But Moscona asks Terrio, what would you do if you won $10,000? And Ryan Terrio's answer was a walk through Baton Rouge's past. Like if you lived in Baton Rouge in the 80s or 90s, this was on point from start to finish.
Wow.
And I want to figure out how to use that answer as a bit to talk about the redevelopment of downtown. Because, I get made fun of for wanting to bring back Fun Fair Park in terms of like, I would like to see like Atlantic City Steel Pier, but, some kind of boardwalk entertainment, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Everything Terrio described could happen again. We could like everything except for ponchos. He wants to go to ponchos. Maybe not. There's certain things we might not want to bring back. Raise the flag up. You raise the little flag, they bring you more enchiladas, please.
Yeah.
All you can eat Mexican was never a good idea.
Oh my gosh. There's Omega on Segan.
Is that all you can eat?
It's a buffet. It's a Mexican buffet. And it's ridiculous.
See, Ponchos was a buffet, and then once you sat down, you raised the flag, and they'd bring you more of whatever you were asking for.
But just authentic Mexican food as a buffet is dangerous. I mean, I can eat a lot of Mexican food.
I can't. Oh, just thinking about it.
I can eat
So much cheese. So much cheese. Forget the spice for a minute. Just think of the cheese, man. Does that mean I'm getting old?
Clogged up, man.
I know.
Clogged
That's
up.
one of the signs of getting old. Your level of cheese frightens me.
Oof. Telling you.
But I don't know how we walked down that path. Oh, because the thing from Parish, yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
So possible. The stuff
But he
you were
talked about
talking
Ryan talked about going to Fun Fair Park. He talked
did?
about Broadmoor Theater, which
Oh.
obviously has been torn down. He talked about Skip Burtman's batting cages off of Exchequer. Like he just ran through this whole list. I'm like, damn, we can bring all these things, most of these things, back to life.
Yeah.
I just
Man.
find me like. There's got to be enough people that would want to invest in Baton Rouge. By the way, Circle Bowl sold. I know. I'm heartbroken. I'm thrilled that it's going to come back to life, hopefully, but I'm heartbroken that I'm not the one to do it. Yeah.
But I mean, What's the issue with that though? Is there just too much red tape to get around to like
For me?
just bring back some of this stuff?
No,
just
just in general. There's no want to.
Yeah.
There's no motivation.
There's not enough drive. Like
I don't think we've had enough cheerleaders in this
I
town.
was gonna say, not enough voices really.
Not enough of real voices. Everybody who's a cheerleader is like, okay, whatever, but not enough of when you have the mayor show up at everything. When you have like people like Rolf getting involved, Rolf McCollister getting involved, Jenny Peters over at Varsity Sports, when you start to see these voices talk about the things that can be done, I think we're going to see more of it. But we need those voices talking about what can be done in terms of. I keep losing the argument because it gets lost in a nostalgia phase. I'm not talking about nostalgia. I'm talking about economic development.
Yeah. Which may sometimes look like nostalgia. I mean,
they're not mutually exclusive.
Right. Galen says Poncho's was cool, but Shakey's Pizza was my favorite.
Okay, so Shakey's is the one I want to know about. Because I think if there's enough support, everybody you talk to who was in Baton Rouge in the 80s will tell you Shakey's Pizza. And I'm like, was it a franchise? Was it like individually owned? Because I know nothing about it except that I've never heard anybody say a bad word about it. But if it was so great, why did it die?
Right.
It was a chain. Okay. The first franchise pizza chain in the United States.
Okay. Wow. If it just couldn't compete with the Domino's and Little Caesars of the world, or what?
I guess so. Okay, so it was known for its casual atmosphere and live music.
Okay. I can dig that. Hello, Miss Dan. You still there? Okay. Just wanted to let you know. Yeah, you'll be on in about a minute or so. Thank you.
Wait a minute now. Oh, look at this. Well, they're all over California
Okay, so
and
they're
Washington. It looks like they've narrowed down their scope. All right, we'll pick this up later on. I gotta focus here. .637, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. President Donald Trump been back on the job for just over 6 months now. How's he doing? Dr. Nan Hayworth is a former congresswoman from New York, Independent Women's Forum Board of Directors, and is with the Board of Directors for Conserve America, actually the chairman there. Dr. Hayworth, welcome. Actually, I believe welcome back to Talk 107.3 FM.
Yes.
You were on a while ago, but it's good to have you back on.
It's great to be back with you, Brian. Thank you so much.
No, glad to have you on here. Okay, let's start with the overall report card, and then we'll kind of break it down issue by issue. Give me the big grade, the big letter grade.
You know what? I mean, obviously, I'm, a fan of President Trump, but I would definitely give him an A. Brian, look what he has accomplished in terms of the promises he made, the priorities he set. The border has basically been sealed. Even our friends on the left cannot deny that. That is an extraordinary accomplishment. All it took was a new president. Counter, obviously, what President Biden kept saying, I can't do it. Congress has to do it. Well, Congress has to do a lot, and they should pass new laws. But President Trump, by the strength of his executive powers, has done it and ensured that we are saving money and are safer and more protected. Trade deals. President Trump is moving forward. The European Union trade deal, as we know, was a very, very big one for us, but he's got deals with Japan and with Southeast Asian countries. He's gradually circling around the big fish, which is China, the big shark. But the more economic strength he gives to us, and he has delivered that again with Congress through the big, beautiful bill, tax relief insured, bigger paychecks for working Americans. Wages have already increased, Brian, for working folks, for blue-collar workers. Big increases in blue-collar jobs as well. Americans being hired, this is all adding up. Gas prices are down. Egg prices are down. The Democrats made a big deal about that. Egg prices are down by about 53%. So President Trump has delivered over and over again in record speed, and I've just scratched the surface of it, as you know, Brian. But I'm very optimistic about what's to come.
All right, so let's talk about those first two pieces right there. And I like legitimate question about, you talk about the border's been sealed, and yeah, the border has been. We've definitely seen numbers drop as far as those are getting over. I have a level of curiosity about, if the border is sealed, why is Mexico facing the tariffs they are for? I feel like we're punishing our neighbor for a problem that we solved.
Yeah. It's a very fair point, Brian. Obviously, we know that border crossings have been dramatically reduced, which is why, of course, they use the word sealed.
Yeah.
But I see the the tariff policies, and I'm not alone in this, as industrial and defense policy as much as they are trade rebalancing in terms of, reshoring American manufacturing and rehiring American workers. But what the administration contends with justification is that there is still a steady trade, although it's been thwarted, in fentanyl and fentanyl components coming across our northern border via Canada and our southern border via Mexico. The Mexican drug cartels are very powerful. They present a continuing threat to us. So the enforcement measures that we have to exert at our borders are that much more dangerous to our personnel and that much more costly. President Trump is going after that. He's made tremendous progress, but there's an enormous amount more to do.
And the fact that he can hold that in his back pocket, use it when he feels like it, is one of the more underreported aspects of this whole thing. In fact, if you want to broaden out to every trade deal that's been negotiated, I'm baffled that we're not hearing more about. Okay, walk down this path with me, okay?
Yeah.
Every time your car insurance comes up, you should shop around to see if you can get a better deal. Every time your homeowner's insurance comes up, you should shop around to see if you can get a better deal. Well, with renegotiating every trade deal out there, within that is seeing what every country has to offer as well. I mean, that factors into it. So it keeps those who we do regular trade with on high alert to know that, hey, there might be other options for the U.S. out there. I don't know why that part of the shopping aspect of it hasn't been like more of a lead in the success of the deals themselves. Yeah.
No, you're exactly right, Brian. We have been the most generous nation in history to our allies who have taken full advantage of that. And look, fundamentally, I believe very strongly that free trade among nations is a powerful instrument of peace. There's no question about that, but it has to be fair.
Yes.
And the problem that we've had is that, and every president and every generation of Americans faces this challenge. We have to keep Americans employed. We have to keep our manufacturing capabilities here in this country capable of providing for our foundational needs, particularly for pharmaceuticals, as we discovered during COVID. So is there a price to pay for that, if you will? There may be. President Trump is balancing all these priorities. We want to hire American workers. We want to employ American workers. We want to be able to sell our goods around the world. And the powerful negotiating tool that we have is that we are the strongest marketplace in the world. So every nation wants access to our marketplace. and President Trump is masterfully using those levers. But I do want to see American workers hired again. I do want to see them paid well. And I am willing to endure, whatever rebalancing that requires in terms of how tariffs eventually percolate through our economy.
What about China? I mean, it's obviously, it's the biggest player in this that hasn't been resolved yet. And yet at the same time, though, it feels like every time the president moves the needle a little bit or moves the goalpost a little bit, not having a deal has been to our advantage thus far.
Yeah. Well, because this way the president can have maximum flexibility as he continues to create this new order, if you will. American leadership is back in a very aggressive way, and the Chinese know that. And of course, we all listen to Gordon Chang, who's I think the leading expert or the leading voice about the inside knowledge, if you will, of the Chinese Communist Party. And President Xi is going through some real challenges right now, and his leadership is threatened. So they're in flux. So I think President Trump is observing to see where he can take advantage of those chinks in the Chinese armor, and I'm happy he's at the helm of this effort.
We're talking with Dr. Nan Hayworth about the president's first 6 months. Okay, you get the border, you got trade deals. Those are the two biggies. Give me something that might be a little more off the radar.
Well, I don't think it's off the radar, but I think it is crucially important, and it's just not one that I mentioned, and that is what's happening in American education, what the Department of Education and Secretary McMahon is accomplishing to make our educational institutions accountable for returning to a merit-based model that is fair to all Americans. And I wasn't aware, I saw these figures yesterday, how many, we hear about Harvard, we hear about Columbia, who are going to pay huge fines for violating basically Title VI of American law, which requires them to create, an equitable and safe learning environment for all students and to protect all students' civil rights. But this movement is happening across a whole swath of prominent schools in the Ivy League, including my own alma mater. And I am very glad of it because it puts these institutions on notice, and they are, they help to create the American atmosphere in powerful ways. They have the voice of authority. So I welcome the fact that this administration is saying you cannot take advantage of the American worker, of the American taxpayer, unless you treat every one of the students whom we help you to educate fairly. And I'm very, very glad, too, about the rebalancing of educational priorities to give the proper respect to the skilled trades and vocations, the blue-collar revolution that's going on right now. I grew up in a neighborhood with folks in the skilled trades and vocations, and I always had the greatest respect. So to see them coming to the fore, to see that strength coming back, I think is just a wonderful change, and it's taken decades to do.
Interesting you lead with higher ed right there, because so we're on in Louisiana right now, where our state has moved from 49th to 32nd in K through 12 education, and we have a superintendent of education whose motto is "Let teachers teach," and we're seeing that we're seeing that start to catch on a little bit, pretty much everywhere, and that autonomy right there is serving up great results. We got 1 minute to go before we got a hard break coming up. In this last minute, toughest question for you. Where is the most improvement needed?
I would say it's in the the way in which Congress is able to function, Brian. I laud the fact that Republicans are becoming really muscular in demanding voter integrity in every state in the union. That is a huge effort to look at those voter rolls and wherever it may fall, in favor of one side of the political spectrum or the other. It has a great impact on policy. The Democratic Party is very, very good, since they're the party of government. They always want to increase government power. They're very, very good at knowing their way around, election laws and population counting, the census and the way the census is, it favors districts that have lots of residents, whether or not they're actually legal tax-paying American citizens or not. American citizens, of course, being the key thing. So I am glad to see that effort proceeding aggressively, because we can't make the progress we need to do unless we have a Congress with a strong presence to protect the American worker, the American family, the American taxpayer. And that's what the Republicans are working on very actively. It's not much publicized because there's so much going on, but it's very important.
She is Dr. Nan Hayworth. We appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian. My privilege.
Absolutely. We're rolling up on 6:51 at Talk 107.3 FM. So tell you what, we are due up for a quick break. We'll come back next right here on Mornings with Brian Haldane. Sorry, I was able to open a clock on my side. Good morning, Christy. Welcome in, boo. All right, so I'm on. I feel that was way too cheerleadery. That was completely one-sided.
What, the interview?
Yeah, it wasn't objective at all. That was not objective. That she was 100% a cheerleader for Trump, and I understand that's her role.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I should book somebody who's going to shit on him.
I mean,
I don't want to. I mean, he is netting good results that aren't getting reported very much, and that is worth mentioning. The fact that bigger than the trade deals is the usage of the trade deals, and I was dead serious when I said, if every time you negotiate a trade deal, you're shopping around to say, like, okay, what do we get from China? Okay, can we get that from somewhere else? can somebody else offer us the products we get from China? And if we can affect that trade deficit and swing it over towards another country that, oh, by the way, might help develop another country and make China think twice. Generally speaking, a trade deficit signifies you have a strong economy. We are going to be stronger than most all the time. But there's nothing wrong with reinforcing that from time to time. Are we back? Okay. 6:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Thanks again to Nan Hayworth for hopping on board. Just let me acknowledge that was very cheerleadery, and I understand it's her role. But there were some nuggets within there that I think were definitely worth noting. As far as the how extensive the trade deals are, getting inside that was the whole point of that conversation. So, I appreciate her time, absolutely. And we'll continue to break down 6 months in. Before we dive into our next story, I want to tell you about the folks over at Neurojust. Neurojust.com is the website. Going to have him on. I'm going to have Jordan from Neurojust on later on this week to talk a little more extensively about what they do and how they can help. If you suffer from anxiety and depression, you know that your mind is a constant fight or flight. If you suffer from anxiety or depression, you know that metaphorically, like every waking moment is just choppy seas, 6-foot waves. Well, how are you going about battling that? How are you going about calming those seas? There's obviously face-to-face therapy, which is great. It often leads to prescriptions, and those prescriptions can have diminishing returns, addiction, side effects, you name it. If that's the route you're on, if that's the path you're on and it's working for you, that's awesome. But at Neurojust, they specialize in transcranial magnetic stimulation. TMS is what the therapy is called. It's non-invasive, it's FDA approved, and basically what it does is it uses magnetic waves to calm those seas. Learn more at neurojust.com. Nan Hayworth was talking a little bit about the muscle coming from the Congress lately. That being said, there's still plenty of controversy over the Speaker's decision to send the House home early for summer recess rather than hold a vote to release the Epstein files. Speaker Johnson says he is committed to getting to the bottom of who was responsible for the sexual abuse of the women and teenage girls at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein and his associates.
We want every single person who had anything to do with any of the Epstein evils to have the full weight of the law dropped upon their head immediately, and we're insistent upon that, and so is the president.
But, he says, he only wants to do so after all files are completely poured over and all the names of victims are redacted.
If there's any names swept up into this, the social media world and everybody will pounce immediately, and their names will be permanently destroyed.
And that is a factor that does need to be considered. But I have to wonder, as long as we've been waiting, how long should that take? As long as we've been waiting already, like, shouldn't they have been working on that? Okay, say you've got a stack of, 10,000 pages. And you make a copy of that stack of 10,000 pages and let somebody go work on that while your stack of 10,000 pages just sits there. And they're already working on it, so we should be coming around to that point. Or long since past that point. By the way, Danny McCormick right here in Louisiana he's holding Speaker Johnson to task. He went as far as issuing a statement condemning his move. McCormick says in his statement he was defending his fellow Republican Thomas Massie, who co-sponsored a resolution with Democrat Ro Khanna to force the release of the files.
We want the Epstein files released, and I believe the pressure put on by Thomas Massie is going to make them get released.
The protection into this is going to trump that, and pardon the pun, trump that. McCormick says Johnson was wrong for calling out Massie, even though he's the main Republican sponsoring the resolution.
He has several Republican co-authors or co-sponsors on this resolution, but for some reason the speaker wanted to single him out.
Problem is if you want it done right, it's going to take time. It's, do you want it done fast or do you want it done right? And as frustrating as it is that they haven't got it started on doing it right, if they could start that during the recess, get to work so we can get to work, if that makes sense. Coming up on 7 o'clock at Talk 107.3 FM, hour 2 is next. I would like you to... Coming up at 9 o'clock, a guy named Wes is coming in. He wants to audition to be the next voice of Tiger Stadium. And I told him I would help him by letting me use the studio. So he's going to come in for about 15 minutes. Yeah, and we're going to do a bit about that later on in the week. I was having some conversations off the record over the weekend about who's in the mix for this. I'll make my prediction later in the week, but there's some really good names. I mean, so there's already a handful of dudes that work for LSU who ought to be out in front, like way, way out in front. I don't know if you have voices from other stadiums that are in this as well. Like, if you were the voice of Strawberry Stadium in Southeastern Football League, that I'm sure we'll see a few of those. But you got like Jacques Pouchot, Mike Smith, Bill Franquez, Dixon McMakin. Like, these guys already do LSU sports. Byron says, what about the 500,000 unfilled manufacturing jobs? Who's going to fill them? I think that problem is going to solve itself as it becomes more appealing. Generationally. Like, we are on the back end of the generation that believes you have to go to college. Have to. Morning, Renee. 7:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. JP producing. We got a busy hour this hour. We got Medical Monday coming your way in our next segment. We got Mike Manning from the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank coming up at 7:35. Did you catch the video over the weekend of LSU football taking their day off to go visit the food bank and do a little volunteer work? We'll talk about that with Mike. If you haven't seen it, it's everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. What the hell happened? What got into that? It's something to behold. And why is only one guy holding up a box of food? We'll get into all that as the hour wears on. Right now, though, we start off your second hour with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Come Thursday, it'll be back to school in Baton Rouge, East Baton Rouge Parish, a number of the surrounding parishes as well. Of course, private and diocesan schools here in the city will be back in as well. And that also means, get ready for it, school zones will be back in effect. By the way, scrolling through the news over the weekend, man, if you haven't gotten free school supplies from somewhere, you're just not trying.
Number 4.
A fundraiser was held for an injured Baton Rouge police officer Saturday at Goodwood Hardware on Jefferson. Host put on a car show, silent auction, and live DJ for Caleb Eisworth. Police say Eisworth was intentionally rammed by a truck while on duty back in June. As a result, the officer did lose both of his legs. Gad Black was charged with attempted first-degree murder of a police officer for the incident.
Number 3.
In an order issued Friday evening, Supreme Court justices called for a briefing on whether the, quote, intentional creation of a second majority-minority congressional district violates the 14th or 15th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution. This is a pivotal part of the case, challenging Louisiana's new congressional map.
Number 2.
Baton Rouge police officers are working this two separate shootings that happened less than an hour apart yesterday evening. BRPD says that 2 people were hurt in a shooting along South Park Drive Sunday afternoon. They were taken to a hospital just before 5 p.m. Shortly after that, another shooting was reported at the Warwick Apartments along Jefferson Highway, where 1 person was hurt.
Number 1.
A Central woman was killed by her boyfriend in a domestic murder-suicide Sunday, less than 2 months after a protective order was filed on her behalf. According to parish records, a protective order was filed on June 25th against 54-year-old Paul Varnado, ordering him not to go within 100 yards of his girlfriend, 54-year-old Alana Singleton. Varnado was booked and then released after signing the protective order, which he obviously did not abide by. 6 weeks later, deputies say he shot and killed her before killing himself at a home along Arlene Avenue. What's trending there, JP?
Well, a federal appeals court ruled Friday night to uphold a lower court's temporary order blocking the Trump administration from conducting indiscriminate immigration stops and arrests in Southern California.
Yes, which is great. Begging the question, though, just how indiscriminate have they been? It's your resources are finite. No matter how much emphasis you put on it, your resources are finite. So is it going to slow them down? Have they done enough of the big sweeps to be able to get a little more surgical now? Maybe. I don't know. What else you got?
Well, Southern Classic Chicken is causing traffic jams on Sherwood.
Just stop it. Stop it with that. I understand. I will understand day one. And we went off on this in the last hour. Or I went off on this last hour. It's fried chicken, y'all. I understand you can have good fried chicken and bad fried chicken. What you can't have is traffic jam level fried chicken.
So I assume you're not the one
No.
in the line.
No.
Part of the traffic jam there.
Absolutely not. I defy you to find me something that good.
What if you do eat it and you're like, oh my goodness, this is the best
I don't know.
chicken
Like
I've
it would have to be a serious level of not just chicken but sauces or like there's got to be something else going on here. Yeah. It's fried chicken. The margin for error is so wide.
It's so many ways though.
I know, but like you think of the really good fried chicken we have in town. You know?
Yeah.
And I don't mean like the Popeyes level or the Cane's level. I mean like the Chicken Shack level.
Oh my goodness.
You know?
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Oh
I have my favorites. What can I say?
Man.
But like we already have that.
Yeah.
I don't need somebody from Shreveport moving in on Sherwood to tell me like otherwise.
I don't know, man.
We're you know who needs to get involved here?
Who's that?
Franz.
Yeah?
Chicken off. We got to have a chicken off. That's
Okay.
This is a job for Franz. He did Wingamania.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything to do with segment, man. Well, let's do it.
Not a segment.
Let's
A
go.
full on. Let's do a full on event. Let's go out
okay.
somewhere. Let's have competition going on.
Okay.
Let's do a full on event. I don't know what you'd call it.
We can think of something.
Yeah. I guess it would kind of depend on what, piece of chicken you're going after, maybe.
Yeah.
If there's like a leg division versus a wing division versus the breast division versus the thigh division, or an overall chicken winner. Oh.
Some ideas, yeah.
Who
knows?
We'll get a minute.
Hey, Lonnie Anderson passed away yesterday. The
Saw that.
WKRP in Cincinnati star was 79 years old.
79 years old. Huge resume, to be sure. Unbelievably talented actress. And one of the things that I was mentioning last hour was that I heard her death reported 3 different times on my way into work this morning.
Wow, yeah.
Now,
big
granted,
deal.
I was running a little bit late, so I crossed over from the 4 o'clock hour to the 5 o'clock hour by like 3 minutes. But I can't help but wonder if this is going to be more heavily reported on the radio than on any other medium out there, because she starred in a TV show about the radio. And my guess is if you work in radio today, and let's put you in your upper 50s, early 60s, you were a fan of the show, and that show somehow inspired you to go into the field that you went into.
Yeah.
Now, you might not have wanted to be working for, ABC News or Fox News or America in the Morning, or you might not. That might not have been the original plan was to be Johnny Fever. That was the original plan.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but folks grow up and move around, and plans change as life wears on. So I can't help but wonder if this is going to be more heavily reported on radio because of the role she played. 712 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We are due up for a quick break. Before we take that break, though, need to remind you about the folks over at Louisiana Landmark Bank. Been a community bank since 1897, and they show no signs of stopping. In fact, they're still expanding. Not beyond a community bank, but just in the new communities. The most recent one, Brewley. They got the Brewley branch is wide open. Add that to the other list of branches, which you can find at landmarkbankla.com under the About tab, landmarkbankla.com. Look, going with a community bank, and I know we get further and further removed from COVID, but think back to COVID, especially if you're a small business owner. If you worked with a community bank, if you worked with a local bank, you knew you had a banker, someone who was going to be there for you through thick and thin. The term banker's hours went out the window during the pandemic. Now, if you were with one of the big multinational banks, you were nothing. You were lost in the wash. But local bank, local business, those two tied together made it through the pandemic. And that's one of the many things you get with Landmark Bank and landmarkbankla.com. Don't just have a bank, have a banker. Landmarkbankla.com. Quick break. Medical Mondays next. Just play back the one from last week, I guess. And that one from last week was short, right? Okay, it'll give me time to talk about hurricane season on the back end. Byron says, I make my own butter. Buttermilk is a byproduct. You want my buttermilk brine fried chicken. And yes, I know I need a social life. You know what I'm thinking here? As soon as Labor Day's over with, Byron needs to come in for a Foodie Friday.
Hey, there we go. That's what
I want his buttermilk brine fried chicken.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I really need right now, y'all? Okay, no BS. Okay. Honey. I'm in need of honey. Local honey. Yep. Need it bad.
Who was last week's guest, Medical Monday?
I don't remember. Oh, I was out last Monday. Go 2 Mondays ago.
2 Monday. Okay, because I was like,
It was recorded, though. It was in there. We played a Medical Monday last week when David filled in, didn't we?
21st. Yeah, we did. But I don't remember which one that was. Nothing was labeled in there. That's what I was wondering.
We'll go 2 Mondays ago anyway, just so it's not.
Dr. Kenneth Civello?
That should have been last week.
That one's showing up as week before last, on the 21st.
All right, roll with it.
Okay.
That's fine.
It's time for your weekly checkup. This is Medical Monday, presented by Our Lady of the Lake Health.
Yes, it is time for Medical Monday, and today we're exploring the growing role of wearable health technology. Devices like smartwatches, fitness trackers, they're helping people monitor everything from heart rate and sleep patterns to irregular rhythms and oxygen levels. Heck, mine tells me I need to stand up 3-4 times throughout the morning. We got Dr. Kenneth Savello on with us. He's a board-certified specialist in clinical cardiac electrophysiology, cardiovascular disease, and internal medicine, here to break down how wearable devices are being used in clinical practice, what patients should look for when choosing a device, and how the technology is shaping the future of heart care. Dr. Savello, welcome aboard. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Now, glad to have you on here because I think sometimes we might all have the Apple Watch on, but not know what it's capable of. We might not be taking advantage of everything that we've got literally already on our wrists. So let's dive right in. What are some of the wearable health devices that are out there, and how are they typically used by patients today?
Yeah, I'll probably put them into three different categories. Currently, the first would be just a smartwatch, either an Apple Watch or a Samsung. And then next you have rings, Oura Ring, OURA is probably the most popular one you hear of, but there are other vendors. And then the third would be just what I call a strap, and that would be like a Whoop band or a Fitbit band. So it really breaks down to either a watch, a strap, or a ring. I think moving into the future, wearables will truly be things you wear. There'll be eyeglasses, there'll be your shirt. But for now, they'll be things you'll put on your body.
What do we use them for mostly right now?
Yeah, for right now, mostly the indications are going to be, hey, let me look at my sleep quality. They can track stages of your sleep, how much REM sleep you're having, how much deep sleep, how much light sleep. They can look at how much stress is you're experiencing by analyzing something called your heart rate variability. For women, they can look at, they can help predict your cycle. They can monitor hormonal shifts. And body temperature and oxygen levels at night for people, screen them for possible sleep apnea.
We're talking with Dr. Kenneth Savello for Medical Monday, presented by the folks over at Our Lady of the Lake. The fitness trackers, the smartwatches, these things are all over the place now. How do they support heart health and early detection?
I think probably the most basic way, if we think back to the first wearable, it was a pedometer. And really, it really made people aware of how many steps they took a day. And so, the common thing was do 10,000 steps. So I think the first thing is they make sure you move. But what wearables do now that they talk to your phone, they sort of coach you as what can you do with your life to improve the thing that it's tracking, whether that's sleep quality, stress, people with atrial fibrillation. So it's gone beyond just a tracking device. Mm-hmm. It's actually becoming sort of a coach in your pocket.
I want to go back to the sleep stuff because with my Apple Watch, I charge it at night. Should I be finding a different way? I mean, should I figure out a different time of day to charge it so that it monitors my sleep?
Yeah, I typically, when I get home in the afternoon, I'll charge it. It charges pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. But for people, some people don't want to get in a shower or a bath with a watch. Just charge it while you're taking a shower, and then by the time you get out, you may be up to 100%. But yeah, I think it's a great idea to sleep with it because not only can you track how much sleep you're having, but with the Apple Watch, it can screen you for sleep apnea, which is really a silent killer that results in high blood pressure, tiredness, fatigue, weight gain, atrial fibrillation. So for most people, it'd be a good idea to wear it at night.
Okay. All right. Good to know right there. That's I might have to change things up at the house. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because I use mine for my workouts, obviously. It does give you the reminder you're supposed to stand up a certain number of times throughout the workday and whatnot, and it's It is a very friendly reminder. It does remind, oh yeah, I have been sitting here forever. The calorie counter,
we
the
all
heart
know
rate.
what we're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah, we all know what we're supposed to do, but having someone tell us is a little bit different.
Yeah, the calorie counter, the heart rate, everything during the workout, it's awesome for all that. So why not add on to it? What are we looking at
Exactly.
as far as exciting advancements and whatnot when it comes to wearable technology? What are you seeing in healthcare right now that we might be on the lookout for next?
Yeah, I think for me the most exciting is probably blood pressure. Blood pressure's kind of been the holy grail of how can you do that non-invasively. There's recently a band called HILO, HILO, that was FDA approved for non-invasively tracking your blood pressure with a wearable. So that's probably the most exciting. As you might imagine, there's millions of Americans who have undiagnosed hypertension. There's another band called Whoop. It's a pretty popular band, but they actually just got slapped by the FDA. They have a feature called Blood Pressure Insights. And, in full disclosure, they said from the very beginning that, they're not a substitute for your doctor. They do not diagnose high blood pressure, but they're pretty close into looking at the trend of your blood pressure throughout the day. The FDA didn't like that claim and so kind of slapped them on the wrist. But as a doctor, I sort of realized that, maybe people are getting their blood pressure checked twice a year when they see a doctor if they're lucky. Mm-hmm. So if there's anything that a wearable can do to shine a light on maybe something's wrong, I'm all for it. So I guess I thought the FDA was a little bit strong on their slap on the wrist of Whoop.
How accurate are these things?
The ones that are FDA approved are very accurate. I mean, in order to go through the process of FDA approval, you obviously have to meet so many standards. So when you're talking about a heart rate, measuring your heart rate variability, looking at your oxygen levels at night, they're very accurate. I think with this new HILO band, I think the blood pressure is clearly accurate. But I don't feel like a wearable needs to be spot on accurate to 1 to 2 millimeters. I think if it's putting you in the ballpark, it may clue you into that there's something wrong. So for the most part, most of the vital signs we look at are accurate, but I think blood pressure may be a little bit different.
We've got Medical Monday going on right now, of course, presented by the folks over at Our Lady of the Lake. And we're talking with Dr. Kenneth Savello about the wearables and how they can help out with some different, health-related items. Let's talk about the folks who, might have chronic conditions already, high blood pressure and the like. How can wearable devices help them manage their health more proactively?
Yeah, I think that really the first kind of medical condition that showed up that has been FDA approved for treatment is something called atrial fibrillation, which is an irregular heart rhythm that a lot of Americans have. And as you get older, you become more and more at risk for that. And so most of these devices have something called irregular heart rate notifications set on them. So they are just passively monitoring your heart rate. And if they notice an irregularity in the heart rate that seems consistent with atrial fibrillation, they'll alert you, hey, you may want to see a doctor because your heart's been fast or your heart's been irregular. So for people who either are at risk of having atrial fibrillation or at an age where, most people really over the age of 60 are at risk for it, it's a good thing to have just to passively monitor you to make sure you don't have that disease. And then we already talked about sleep apnea, which I think is a big one.
Can they talk to you? Like, how do wearable devices support doctors to help you along the way with diagnosis and decisions?
It's a great question, and we are starting to move from, I guess, wearables, consumer wearables, going through basically what we call a physician dashboard. So you can then look at that information. The problem is that unless something is FDA approved, most doctors are not going to believe it, really, maybe even out of convenience.
Okay.
But and then and then you really can't bill for it. There are codes that CMS, the government, have out there that if you review someone's 30-day summary of their oxygen levels or their heart rate, there is a small billable diagnosis that goes with it. But I would say there's not a lot of doctors who are using that. I think it's mostly just insightful to the patient. But I think as we move forward, it's going to be a big deal, especially when you start talking about blood pressure. Yeah. And I would say I can get more out of a 30-day summary of your wearable than I can out of a 30-minute visit with you in the room. So I think they're important.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can track, how active someone is, whether they're actually getting up, moving around, walking, raising their heart rate. That sleep trackers that you're talking about are unbelievably important as well. To me, that sounds like it would be useful stuff.
Yeah, it would be. And yeah, I mean, when someone comes in your office and, you see them for 20, 30 minutes and you go, oh, how active are you? Oh, I'm pretty active, doc, and
let's see, show me the receipts.
You pull up there. Yeah. It's or how are you sleeping at night? And you see that, they're not getting any REM sleep, or they're staying up at, late at night.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can really start honing in on things like, hey, what can we do to improve your sleep quality? Or what can we do to, lower the stress in your life if you notice heart rate variability is really low. So I think the 30-day wearable summary probably gives me more information than a 30-minute visit does.
Good stuff. We just got a minute or so left with Dr. Kenneth Savello for Medical Monday. All right, let's talk about the folks that have not yet bought a wearable health device. What advice would you give for someone getting into this for the first time?
That's a hard one. I would say first pick, what do you want, like a ring? Like a lot of people don't, they have a watch, they like their watch, and maybe so a ring is good for them. For some people, they actually don't like the idea of having an Apple Watch because they don't want it in their, they don't want to be constantly bombarded by text messages and notifications. So for those people, maybe a strap is good. So, like a Whoop, WHOOP band is good. And then if you're someone who's, in the, Apple ecosystem, obviously an Apple Watch is good. Or if you're someone who has an Android, the Samsung is probably the Samsung watch is just as good as the Apple Watch is. So I think it's really what your preference is.
Yeah, I know. It takes a while to set up the notifications to make sure not everything goes through to the watch because you just don't need that bombardment. Yeah. But if you turn it off on your phone from the get-go, you can manage that for sure. In the meanwhile, if somebody wants to learn a little more, where can they call to set up an appointment?
Yeah, I'm at the Arleta Lake, Louisiana Cardiology, and so they can call and make an appointment. I also, anyone's on LinkedIn, I do put out a newsletter on wearables that you can find it under my name or just KennethSavellomD.com. And yeah, it's I feel like wearables are the future of the next way we're going to improve healthcare. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Call for that appointment is 225-767-3900, 225-767-3900. He's Dr. Kenneth Savello. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning. Great stuff.
Great. Thanks for having me.
We are at 729 at Talk 107.3 FM and WBRP. Of course, oftentimes Medical Monday is a pre-recorded segment as we team up with our folks, our good partners over there at Our Lady of the Lake. We got news coming up in a little over a minute. Need to remind you about the Louisiana Travel Association. We're counting it down, y'all. Counting it down to the Louisiana Travel Association's annual summit. Going to be broadcasting live from I believe, the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles. Taking the show on the road. We're actually taking the show on the road a lot this month. But we'll be there for the Louisiana Travel Association Summit. It's a deep dive into the world of tourism throughout the state of Louisiana, hitting every nook and cranny, hitting every staycation opportunity possible. Whether you're talking about Lake Charles, which is where we're going to be, where you're talking about Monroe, West Monroe, the Jefferson Parish, St. Tammany Parish, you name it, all 64 parishes. we will cover in some way, shape, or form. And what we're doing here is we're taking it for 2 shows. We'll do the normal morning show 6 till 9, and then we'll come back from 11 to 1 to hit everything else. So I'm looking forward to it. We did this last year. It was phenomenal. Can't wait to do it again. One of the many trips we're going to be taking throughout the state this month. Look, just love celebrating travel in Louisiana, and I love our partnership with the Louisiana Travel Association. All right, news, traffic, weather. Then we hit up Mike Manning next. Cool. Why is there no audio for this? I just emailed you a quick Facebook reel of LSU football running through the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. When we come back in with a bumper, I just all I want's the audio from it, but I'm gonna say the audio doesn't do it justice, but because it doesn't. But please have it queued up and ready to roll. I need to stop looking at property on 4th Street. Yeah. Focus. Here's the thing. One of the big parts of Plan Baton Rouge Phase 3 is going to be all the emphasis on 4th Street that we saw on 3rd Street 20 years ago. So what I'm wondering is where would we have Shakey's on 4th? And a couple spots.
So you're really giving some thought into the Shakey's thing.
Yeah, I just don't have money. I had great ideas.
It's always the case, man. People with
Well, but the thing is, like, how many people would put their money where their mouth is? How many people say bring back Shakey's Pizza would actually show up to Shakey's Pizza? Yeah. Like, if I were to go back through comment sections after comment sections, it's number 1 every time.
Yeah. Wow.
What was I looking up? I was looking up something else. Oh, I have to knock out a live read first.
Okay.
736 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're going to get to Mike Manning here in just a quick second. I do need to remind you about the folks over at Industry Makes. Who is Industry Makes, you might ask? Well, happy to tell you. I'll read right from their website, okay? They are, their mission is to be a trusted source of industrial communications. Basically, if it's going on in Louisiana, they want to share it with you. If it's going on in Louisiana from an industrial standpoint, they want to share it with you. Why am I telling you about Industry Makes this morning? I'm happy to share that. I told you we're taking the show on the road a lot this month, actually going to Lake Charles twice. We'll be in Lake Charles on August 15th for what's called Legislator, which is a huge legislative luncheon. I believe that one is going to be at L'Auberge in Lake Charles. And we'll be broadcasting live from there, talking to different players in the state when it comes to the industrial world, talking to different lawmakers, legislators, and Industry Makes is sponsoring the trip there, sponsoring the show from there. Just another peeling back of the curtain to get you a look inside of where we're headed in the industrial world here in Louisiana, and it's brought to you by the folks over at Industry Makes. Okay, yesterday, LSU football had the day off, and they went over to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. And I know the audio is not going to do this justice. By the way, make sure that Facebook can hear it too, right? All right. I know the audio is not going to do it justice, but for the radio format, it's what we've got to offer. What did it sound like over there at the food bank yesterday? Oh my goodness, the hype train was literally a hype train yesterday at the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, like a parade of LSU football players rolling through, having the best time serving their community. I want to get the behind the scenes on this, so we welcome in Mike Manning. Mike, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Brian. Good to be with you.
Glad to have you on this morning. Thanks for the quick turnaround. I know I hit you up late yesterday evening, and I appreciate you hopping on.
Glad to do it.
Okay, so what the hell was that?
That was them just having a good time. They one of our volunteer leaders stepped in and started dancing with them, and then they started doing the train. It was just a fun time, and they really just seemed to be enjoying themselves and each other.
So I've got to ask, like, from the behind-the-scenes standpoint, was that level of, we'll use the word jubilation, because that's the only word I could use when looking at that video. Was that level of, not necessarily jubilation, but just joy, was that what was in the air with this team together?
Absolutely, and it was at a whole nother level than the previous 2 years they've come. It was just, it was inspiring to everybody who was working with them. All of my team got a big lift out of it. So I'm excited to see how they're going to come back today, because they were jumping in right with them.
So there's football implications to this, to be sure. When you see a team that is that happy to be together, when you see a team that is that in unison, it's this sort of thing normally translates on the field. I'm not saying their visit to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank is going to make them a championship team, but when you see that kind of camaraderie, that kind of teamwork, it's hard not to raise expectations.
Right, and that's the big thing. They look like they really just care about each other, and it just comes through naturally. It's not like it's put on or anything like that. They just enjoy being with each other. And a few days into camp, you thought might be dragging, but they're not. I mean, they're full of energy and ready to go.
We're talking with Mike Manning from the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. All right, let's talk about the purpose of them being over there. What got done, aside from the hype video? What got done?
Well, they were able to pack about 42,000 pounds into boxes for us to be able to distribute. The sad thing is a lot of it was snacks and Gatorade, so it's not real the high nutritious food that we really need. But we've been able to get snacks and Gatorade, but we really still need a significant amount of food, because we've had to reduce our distributions per person this year to levels that we haven't seen in a long time. Let's put it that way.
Well, let's talk numbers there, Mike, because it is the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, so we're talking about more than just the city here. Who do y'all serve? And then we'll get into some of the numbers of what you're used to serving up at about this time of year.
Okay, we serve the food insecure and hungry in the 11 parishes that surround and include East Baton Rouge. So if you're talking about St. Helena, both Felicianas, over to Iberville, Point Capee, down to all the way down to Assumption, Ascension, Livingston, and East West Baton Rouge, and that's pretty much our service area.
And what qualifies someone to meet that food insecurity standard?
Well, it's situational. There are federal guidelines as what meets food insecurity, but there are also people who are on the bubble who are, working two jobs and still can't make it with the significant inflation we've seen in the past few years. Now that it's stabilized, prices are still so much higher. They haven't come down. So these people are still having to deal with the problem, and it's hard for them to do it. So a lot of our agencies even extend beyond just those that are food insecure, those that are dealing with the real hassles of trying to make it today.
And I would imagine, I mean, this is not I don't want to walk you down a political take standpoint, but it's got to be tougher for those who are busting their hump.
Yeah, it's the age-old problem of you get government benefits, but then you bust your hump, you get too much income, and you lose your benefits. So it's that's a challenge. But also it's the real challenge of what we're facing today. We're still at prices that when you talk about 9% increase in prices in a year, people aren't getting those kind of salary increases. Now,
Right.
Those are supposed to be coming now, and we're hearing some of it, but that's the hard part is people can't catch up.
Now we're talking with Mike Manning from the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. How much did and I don't know if it's hit yet, but how much did the recent SNAP cuts to the One Big Beautiful bill, what kind of repercussions are y'all facing there?
Well, SNAP education is going to be hit, but the SNAP cuts, we're probably going to be seeing more people in line.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest impact for us is, when you are limited in the amount of food you have and you're already trying to serve as many people as you can and more people start getting in line, it really ratchets up the challenge for us to be able to access food because food donations have limited as everybody's tightened their butt over their belt over the years to try to narrow their own food waste as corporations. So it's a real challenge. So we're having to buy significant amounts of food now, and we're trying to do. Our focus has been on produce of late because we can get really good prices to buy bulk produce, and then have the volunteers come in and repack it so we can distribute it.
And the turnaround on that has got to be a little bit tougher on y'all though, because I mean it's perishable.
Yeah, but a lot of it is what we're trying to buy is things like potatoes and that have a little longer life.
Gotcha.
To make sure we can get it in and out of here. And we've been very fortunate with the purchases. We're buying stuff that's been left in the fields that farmers hadn't sold, so seconds and that kind of stuff. But we're very fortunate, and the spoilage that we've seen of the product coming in has been minimal.
We're talking with Mike Manning from the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. Mike, I know y'all garner more attention around the holidays, and that's natural, and I understand the ebb and flow of that. But it's got to be tough around this time of year with folks going back to school. The thought process is those who are food insecure are going to get fed at school anyway.
Yeah, and it does help some, but there's still a lot of seniors out there that are struggling, and there's still a lot of the working poor that are still qualifying for assistance that need help. It's not the be all and end all. It does help us, right. And the good thing is with school coming back is a lot of the Catholic schools and Christian schools and other schools start having food drives. So we start seeing more donated food come in, which helps to replenish what we've been using over the summer to tap our inventory.
I know you appreciate the food drives, but when it comes down to it, and this is, look, we never want to turn away a food drive, but when it comes down to what y'all would like to see donated, what is it y'all seek the most?
Well, we love the idea of kids going to the pantry and taking the food. It really builds that charitable giving concept with children, mm-hmm. as opposed to going to mom's purse or dad's wallet,
right?
Because that kind of takes them away from it. So we encourage the younger schools to do that. But money is king. We can do so much more with $1. We can get tractor trailer loads of product. Some of it we've been able to get some donated produce that we're paying the transportation to get it in here. Some of it we're having to buy, but we're getting it at pennies on the pound compared to what you could buy in the grocery store.
Right. I mean, just the force multiplier that it is when you could buy in bulk is just irreplaceable.
Exactly.
Where can folks go if they want to learn more? Where can folks go if they want to donate?
The easiest thing to do is go to the website. It's www.brfoodbank.org, and you can do everything there. You can sign up to volunteer. You can donate. You can do anything you like.
I got to tell you, Mike, before I let you go, the headquarters over there, I'm surprised the video was as short as it was because they got a lot of room that they can run through Yells Food Bank.
Oh, they were going. Don't. That was just short because they probably ran out of time to snip it on the video. It was. We were just. I mean, it was so exciting and it was so much fun and everybody had a great time and we really appreciate them coming out and we hope they enjoyed it too because that's what we try to do with any of our volunteers is we want them to have a good time so they'll want to come back and help us again.
Absolutely. He is Mike Manning with the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. We always appreciate the time, sir. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Brian. Take care.
You too. We're at 747 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Tell you what, I want to stay on time here, so let's move this into this segment. Have you been looking at the tropics lately? I don't know why I slipped into Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey right there. Have you been looking at the tropics lately? It is the map right now has been hyperactive, to be sure. Wait a minute. I lost it all. Oh, no. So we got Dexter now. Dexter's now a thing, a tropical storm. Dexter is not going to bother anybody. It's out there in the Atlantic, going to remain in the Atlantic. It's off the coast of North Carolina right now, but it's going to continue on a northeasterly path and fizzle out by late Thursday. Meanwhile, off the coast of Georgia and South Carolina, there is a broad area of low pressure forecast to develop in a couple of days. It's a few hundred miles off the coast of southeastern United States. Like I said, Georgia and South Carolina. Over the next 7 days, it has a 30% chance of becoming a named storm. Meanwhile, off the coast of Africa, and this is the one that has my eye, there is a tropical wave moving off the western coast of Africa, currently producing limited shower activity, but conditions are set for this thing to be, developed. Conditions are set for a gradual development of the system into a tropical depression by later this week and maybe greater. As it stands right now, according to the National Hurricane Center, this has a 50-50 shot of formation over the next 7 days. Now, we are getting into the thick of hurricane season. It has been a slow one thus far. Well, I say that, actually, statistically speaking, it's right on where we've seen slower ones in the past. Let's just put it that way. Now, as we get into August and then, September 10th, September 11th, that's technically the peak of hurricane season in Louisiana. So while we're only looking at the D name for a hurricane on the 4th day of August, it's about to ramp up, y'all. It is about to ramp up to where you're going to see a lot more activity, a lot more potential for storms, and probably a lot more storms to come along with it as the season wears on. As far as this one that is off the coast of the Atlantic, like I said, it's got a 50-50 shot of becoming a named storm. Where we're at right now, the next one would be Erin, E-R-I-N, Erin, would be the next one to be named. Not real sure if that's going to be this one or not, but man, looking at where it's headed and what's headed from the other side as well, I can't help but think this would be one to keep an eye on. All right, we're coming up on 7:50 at Talk 107.3 FM. We got a busy 8 o'clock hour, so we're bumping This Day in History presented by 5 Star Printing and Signs into the next segment. That's next. Kind of want to be, yep. Oh, man. All right. I'm working on my Tiger Stadium bit here and there. Condon's got to be involved. We got to get Condon involved. How would you like Richard Condon to be the next voice of Tiger Stadium?
There we go. Now we're talking.
See, I like where Renee's at. My church has asked for peanut butter donations for the food bank. See, if you combine everybody's peanut butter, you could check peanut butter off the list. And I know that, like, peanut butter, yeah, that's awesome. You could check one thing fully off the list. Me bringing a can of corn and a can of peas doesn't check anything off the list. But if I get 1,000 people to bring a can of corn, now we check one thing off. It's, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Renee. Wish these food banks would start a fill the menu. It's been done other places and it works. I think Debbie's talking about the exact same thing right there. We have turned into a nation that cannot even feed themselves. I think we always have been to an extent. It's just now we, seek more ways to feed each other. And yet we have an obesity paradox with the poverty. Yep. Isn't that infuriating? Isn't that infuriating to but it's at the same time though, the foods that are the cheapest, blah, 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 right? The foods that are the cheapest are the ones that are the worst for you. How do you work that balance, man? That's why it's called a paradox, I guess. You restrict what can be purchased on the EBT card, but then it doesn't go as far. $7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane. Rolling right along. We have got Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company coming up at 8:05. We can talk about everything under the sun with Moon at 8:15. And we've got James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, at 8:35. Busy next hour, which means right now, the great folks over at 5 Star Printing and Signs bring you This Day in History. Okay, John.
Here we go. We're going to make this quick, right?
Yes, sir.
1914, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson issues his Proclamation of Neutrality to keep the United States out of the war in Europe.
Yeah, that didn't work.
It's the thought that counts, right? It's the attempt.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, 1944. Anne Frank is arrested in Amsterdam by German security police following a tip-off from an informer who is never identified.
Really? I mean, who does that? Anne Frank.
I know, right?
Get her.
Who would? Man.
So stupid.
I know. 1967, some music news here. Pink Floyd releases their debut album, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
Okay.
What a title.
The Piper at the Gates of Dawn?
The Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
Hey, this day in 1892.
Okay, taking it way back.
Lizzie Borden's father and stepmother were murdered in Fall River, Massachusetts.
Oof.
Yeah. She was tried for the crime but acquitted.
Oh, man. Hey, back to music here. 1984, Prince's Purple Rain. The album goes to #1 and stays #1 for 24 weeks.
Love it.
So good. Let's see. 1988, Congress votes to grant $20,000 to each Japanese American interned during World War II.
Yeah, interred. You put an in there.
Interned.
Interred,
There's interned.
like imprisoned.
Yeah.
No, it's not. There's no in that.
What?
I'm telling you.
Bruh.
They didn't have an internship.
Intern. It said interned. I'm reading it. I'm reading exactly like it says.
Yeah, I'm
Sorry.
not doubting you.
You're just doubting the source.
Correct.
See, that's total Ron Burgundy. Just
The
just
shorter
read what's
version
on
is
there.
inter. INTER.
Got you.
Mm.
Hey, 2009. Kim Jong Il meets former President Bill Clinton and pardons and releases captured American journalists Yuna Lee and Laura Ling, who were found guilty of entering the country illegally.
I know we don't have time for this right now, but it's one of my favorite radio stories. I was producing I was producing for a host who I will not name because it was just so embarrassing.
Oh.
There was a story about Kim Jong Il. This was when I was still at the other news talk station in town. There was a story about Kim, and no, it wasn't Bill. There was a story about Kim Jong Il, and you have a capital I and a lowercase L.
Yes.
And I swear to you, for 2 full segments, this man kept calling him Kim Jong 2.
You know, honestly, that's why I caught
That's
myself.
why you paused. I know.
I paused.
I know. You got it right, though.
Yeah.
Okay, birthdays. Let's roll.
Barack Obama today.
Oh, wait, one more.
Oh.
This day in 1993, Nolan Ryan whipped Robin Ventura's ass.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Barack Obama today.
All right.
Louis Armstrong today as well. Billy Bob Thornton.
Yep.
And I know I had one more, man.
I got so many more.
Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon was on this day. American journalist Helen Thomas was born on this day. And back to the world of sports right quick. We had the wrong page pull up. Dadgummit, how much time do we have?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. All right. John Riggins, Hall of Fame running back, Roger Clemens, and former Saints cornerback Alex Molden.
All right. Going on to deaths here. Marilyn Monroe today.
Yep.
Hans Christian Andersen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what I have.
All right. And it's in lieu of this day, like, what is this day? Yesterday was the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Super Bowl. We're going to run with that.
There we go.
Hour 3 is next.
Whew. Just hang on. 'Cause we're rolling, man. We're freaking rolling.
It's either, by the way. Intern or interred.
Really?
I stand corrected. It is both.
Oh, okay. I was reading it, whatever on this day had. Kimberly says, I think Lizzie did it. What is this in reference to?
Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden. Okay. True. Yeah, mention that.
Okay, so you restrict what can be purchased on an EBT card, to which I responded, but then it doesn't go as far. To which Galen responds, which is another benefit, less bad calories, and fewer. So.
And which Matt says, you don't need Little Debbie's.
No,
soda.
you don't need Little Debbie's or soda, okay?
Right.
I understand that, and I'm more than on board with getting rid of the soda for sure. Mm-hmm. But what you need is a stomach that's satiated. You need a stomach that recognizes it's full. And the cheaper that is, the worse it is for you. So if you want to eliminate Little Debbie's, that's fine. But a box of mac and cheese is no better for you.
Yeah.
Ramen noodles, you're talking about sodium out the ass.
Yeah.
The cheapest thing in the grocery store is ramen noodles. That will fill you up. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, though.
What?
That's unfortunately.
Oh, I know.
It's just.
I know. But what I'm like, the cheaper you go, the more processed it is. The more processed it is, the worse it is for you. Yep. So I really don't give a crap if it's Little Debbie's or ramen noodles. Like, it's bad for you. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, if they're on SNAP benefits, if they're on EBT, more than likely they're on governmental health care as well. They're more than likely they're on Medicaid as well. Which means, would you rather pay a little bit more on the front end for the good food or on the back end for the medical bills that you're picking up the tab for anyway? And don't get me down a path of should you be picking up the tab on the medical end. I'm not looking at the world. I'm not living in the world of should be. I'm living in the world of this is where we are. I got to figure out what to do with the NOLA Company segment 2 weeks from now because I'm gonna be at Legislator. I might keep the segment where it belongs. Keep the segment at 7:35 there, and just like abandon Legislator for one segment and come back to it because I'm also going to have. I'm also going to have Lake Urgent Care that morning. I might ask Lake Urgent Care to punt for a day.
And what day is this?
Friday the 15th.
15th. So you say this next is Walt Leger?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
Morning.
Hey, good morning. Studio. All right. Yes, ma'am. Let's see. Let me get your name.
Who do we have? Alice Glenn. I knew that. Damn it. I knew that. My apologies. That's on me. I saw that email and then I was second guessing myself, and I went back and saw a different email that said Walt, and I went with Walt. Executive Vice President. Alex Glenn with 2 N's. Alice Glenn. See, Galen, you're spot on. Now, what's the way out of it?
You want to go to 15?
You what?
Want to go to 15?
Close to it. Yeah.
Okay.
14 to 15, somewhere up in there.
Okay.
.806 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Every so often, we like to check in down in New Orleans, see what's going on. And we do that with New Orleans and Company. Alice Glenn is the Executive Vice President over there. Alice, good morning. Welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. I'm doing fantastic. Happy Monday morning to you.
Happy Monday morning to you as well. We wrapped up Restaurant Week in Baton Rouge not too long ago, and down in New Orleans, y'all are off and running with the big, basically the same thing, but you're running for the full month with Culinary.
That's right. Culinary started August 1st and runs all the way through the month of August. One of the most fun aspects this year is that Culinary has been around for 21 years. So we're saying we turned 21. So in addition to the great prefix menus at restaurants, we've also got some great bars jumping into the mix this year.
I mean, I grew up in the New Orleans area. We don't really wait till we're 21, do we?
Well, we did this year.
Okay. But walk me through a couple of the highlights here, because I mean, for folks in Baton Rouge that want to make the ride down there, it's what we celebrate with Restaurant Week in Baton Rouge is we step off the normal menu, let the chefs get a little chefy, a little more creative. How does that translate down to New Orleans?
That's exactly right. So Culinary this year is featuring over 120 restaurants from around the city, everything, neighborhood corner bars, restaurants to some of the highest end places in the city. $28 or less for a 2-course lunch and $58 or less for a 3-course dinner. Or a Sunday brunch in this case. And then we've also got 20 fantastic bars from around the city. You can see a full list of the restaurants and bars and their menus at culinaryneworleans.com.
Very good stuff. We're talking with Alice Glenn, the Executive VP of NOLA Company. I would be remiss if didn't mention what's coming up, day after tomorrow over at the Montreal Convention Center. Alice, I try very hard to make fun of people who play pickleball, but this is Pickle Fest is now, if I'm not mistaken, in its 3rd year, benefits the Breeze Dream Foundation. It's a remarkable event, and yet it continues to explode.
Well, pickleball, I'm not a pickleball player myself, Brian, so I can totally relate to you on that. But I think we're in the minority at this point. Everyone is really into pickleball. And this is not only the chance to see really awesome teams from around the country at this point. I think the last time we checked, there were over 20 states represented at Pickle Fest. The Breeze Dream Foundation and Drew Brees have been really one of the founding partners. And he's brought some really fun special guests to play with him over the last couple of years. So I would expect that again this year.
So the way I make fun of it is I describe pickleball as being tennis for people who don't like lateral movement. But you get some hardcore athletes get into this.
There are some hardcore athletes too. And look, it's a sport. Whether or not you can play it after brunch is a different question. But I think these guys are taking it really seriously. And I think it's really fun to watch some of these competitors. There's also live entertainment, vendor markets, and some fun family activities at the festival if you're more of a casual observer. So it's definitely worth the trip over to the convention center to check it out.
All right. So this year's big event, you say Drew Brees always brings in somebody. This year's big event, the name is really huge.
Yeah, pretty exciting. We're hearing that, there's certainly going to be a couple of guests. Of course, Drew is always there. And then, we'll see who else shows up.
It's on the website, Alice. You can give it out. It's on NOLAPicklefest.com's website. You can share it.
Well, I think that there's I don't want to. I think Andre Agassi.
There you go.
That you're talking about.
Yes.
I've heard that there may be a couple of others. We'll see, but definitely come out and see. So it's like tennis light, but this is Andre Agassi heavyweight. So
right.
I don't know, Brian.
All right. No, I'm with you. I'm with you for sure. Legitimate question about Drew Brees though, and I worry about my guy because he is the Saints' legacy forever and ever. Can he swing the paddle with his right? Because I know he can't go overhand with it. Is he up to par here?
Oh, I don't know. Look, we never speak ill of Saint Drew Brees here in New Orleans, so I'm
protect him at all costs. Yes,
whatever he wants.
All right. What else we got going on in New Orleans this month?
Another thing that I'm really excited about that's happening this week is the Xfinity U.S. Gymnastics Championships. This is a really cool event at the Smoothie King Center that starts on Thursday, runs through the weekend, and it's actually the first stop to the 2028 Olympic Games in L.A. So definitely worth coming to check out some of these incredible athletes if you're into gymnastics or if you're just, looking for something fun and interesting to do this weekend.
Very cool stuff. It is going to be over the Smoothie King Center, and this is a big deal. This is a big old event. So I looked into this a little bit to get size and scope, and y'all going to have a lot of folks attending.
We are. We're looking forward to it. We're really honored to be able to host. We say we're championship city. We host Super Bowls. We host, marquee concerts. We just hosted UFC 318, which was incredible. Dustin Poirier's final bout, and this is no different. This is the U.S. Gymnastics Championships.
Yeah, big time. We've got about 3 minutes left with Alice Glenn, Executive Vice President of NOLA Company, and about 19 more topics to cover. Y'all are busy right now. It's supposed to slack off in August, but we got so much to get to. I got to ask you about the Amtrak Mardi Gras service. This officially launches this month.
That's right, the 18th. I'll be on that first train ride. We're really excited about this. You know, it's coming back for the first time since Hurricane Katrina, running between New Orleans and Mobile with several stops along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It's a relatively inexpensive ticket, starts at just $15 a person. There's Wi-Fi. There's leg room. I think it's a much easier and cool new way. Like everything's old is new again, right? New way to travel along the Gulf Coast.
Well, and to come back on the 20th or in the same month as the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina is just the number of check boxes of milestones that have returned since then. It has been an amazing journey over time, and this is a big one.
It's a milestone, and you're right. So much is happening. We just celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Superdome.
Yep.
So it's officially a historic landmark now, but still one of the most iconic venues in the world at this point. Yep. Lots to celebrate in the month of August. We get a bad rap, I think, because it's hot. It's hot everywhere. I've been a few places across the country over the last month or so, and it is hot everywhere. So, there's some great deals, of course, through culinary at restaurants. You can get a really great deal in a hotel room. Come visit some of our museums. We're celebrating Museum Month for the month of August, too. And check out one of these really awesome events that we just talked about. It's a fantastic time to come visit New Orleans.
Well, if you want to trade off the heat, the deals are on right now as well. This is August is really the best spot for a staycation. I mean, if you're coming down to New Orleans, because, what was it? I guess Essence Fest was the last huge, hotel attraction there. So you're going to find deals right now.
Absolutely. But there's still a lot of really fun things happening. I mean, we've talked about a few coming up this week. White Linen Night was this past weekend. The Red Dress Run is another fun event happening this weekend on the 9th. And then Dirty Linen Night is also another, kind of a little more low-key arts event in the French Quarter happening this weekend. But, yeah, come get a great deal on a hotel. Have an affordable but delicious, unique meal at one of our world-class restaurants. Visit a museum, go play some pickleball, or just watch. And then, maybe you can buy an Amtrak ticket and plan your next visit.
Yeah, you bring it back around to the Breeze Dream Foundation. I mean, it is an absolutely wonderful cause that the proceeds from the Pickle Fest go to. In the meanwhile, we are just straight up out of time for today. Alice Glenn, Executive Vice President. President. I just can't talk in the third hour. I'm quitting.
It's early. It's early on Monday morning.
But it's hour 3 for me. I should be nice and warm by now. Executive Vice President of NOLA Company. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
I really appreciate you having me, Brian. Have a good one, and
Always.
We'll see you in New Orleans soon.
Yep, we'll talk to you soon, Alice. Thank you so much.
Right.
816 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Quick break. We're going to talk about everything under the sun with Moon next. What up? Oh, shit, why? Oh, no. We still good for tomorrow afternoon? Cool. Yeah. So everything's gonna be out in the hallway. She seems to. What she was telling me is they're gonna have somebody there until it's all locked down. So. 818 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. The 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution prohibits the federal and state governments from denying citizens the right to vote based on race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Apparently, that could have different meanings, and the U.S. Supreme Court's looking at that right now, which, by the way, means a lot right here in Louisiana. Moon Griffon is on with us. You catch her from 9 to 11 right here on Talk 107.3 FM and everywhere statewide. How are you doing this morning, brother?
Brian, I'm doing great. How was the vacation, man?
Vacation?
Is that where you were?
Bro, no, I was dropping the daughter off at college, man.
Oh my
no,
God!
Look, I was maximizing 400 square feet of dorm room availability with about 8,000 pieces of furniture.
No, that's considered a vacation away from the job. How about that?
Okay, fair enough. It's a lot of heavy lifting and carrying, to be sure.
You were doing something different than you normally do. How about that's what I call a vacation. Doing something different than what you normally do.
That'll work. We can roll with that for sure.
But I did squeeze into town, and John took care of me while I was in town. So I just want to let you know that you weren't there, but John took care of me.
Glad to hear it. Well, wait, whoa! But there was a purpose for you being in town. Are we allowed to talk about that?
What was the purpose?
I heard you had an appointment at about noon.
No, that didn't happen. I actually had to cancel.
All right.
I forgot about that. No, that didn't happen because of a death in the family. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, Brian, you mentioned the 15th Amendment redistricting. I got Paul Hurd, who's been one of the guys on this case dealing with the Cleo Fields district. I call it Cleo Fields district. I want everybody to be reminded Republicans gave us that. And he's going to tell us what's going on, what the court's ordered, what the courts are looking for. He's going to let us know that coming after 9:30 break today. So I'm going to let Paul explain what they're looking for.
Okay.
He's a guy that's won several gigantic redistricting, including the defeat of Cleo Fields last time in the gerrymandered district. So we're going to get it. It looks like the legislature is going to do exactly opposite of what they ought to do, is have a special session in August. Now, I don't know if you heard this because I know you're taking care of your young child. Donald Trump and him, apparently some lawyers said they didn't want us to touch the case. And I totally disagree with President Trump on this. And I don't really disagree with Trump. It's his lawyers. Louisiana always gets caught flat-footed. What we ought to do is take care of our business this month in a special session and let the courts take care of that. Because even talking to people higher up, they said it's a big gamble, this court case that's coming up. It's just a big gamble. If we lose, and you might have Cleo for a while.
Yeah, because if we lose and if it rolls over to re-election in 2026, and then we look at it after that, you're only talking about one more congressional election before we look at redistricting again because of the next census.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct, because you're going to go 20. If we don't do anything, and talking to people in Washington, Cleo Fields going to get the run for 2026 because our legislation, the governor, won't get off their rears and change this horrible district this month. So you already have him in 2026. So then you really 2028 will be it. Well, you got 2030, I guess you can say, because that's actually when the census is taking place. But you have a couple more. But I don't know if the legislation and the governor got the guts to do what needs to be done. This district should have never been drawn, Brian. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. Even people that voted for it, they know it.
I don't know where the lack of guts comes from, though, Moon, because if this was if this was done under false pretense that, it had to be numbers based, it had to be completely race based, then if the Supreme Court rules otherwise, if the Supreme Court rules that the logic was faulty on the front end, it wasn't quote unquote just math, The door would be open. It doesn't take guts. It just takes feet to step through them.
But one of the things that's bothering me is that our congressional delegation of 4 Republicans, Scalise, Johnson, Ledlow, and Higgins, you don't hear them hollering about it either. That's starting to bother me, Brian, because these congressmen, I know they were mad at Graves. I know Graves did some stuff, but let's move beyond that. You mean to tell me you'd rather have Cleo Fields and Garrett Graves? Makes no sense to the average person that has a brain power. Where are the congressmen? I don't see congressmen, United States senators, nobody's Cassidy, Kennedy, nobody's making a big deal about it. That blows my mind.
Yeah, same. I'm with you on that front. And anything Graves would have done to ruffle feathers wasn't done with anything he voted on up in Washington, D.C.
Had nothing to do with voting.
Had nothing to do with his congressional record.
It had everything to do with leadership and the people that were elected because he had tied his hips to somebody else. I understand that. And then Higgins was upset because when they did the redistricting, Shea Snyder cut something out and gave him something else. So I'm just telling you what the fight was about. But that was still no reason for Cleo Fields. So I don't see them bickering, complaining, fussing. So I'm thinking, well, they must be happy with Cleo. I don't know how else to read it.
Let me ask you this, Moon, and I know you've got the expert coming on at just after 9:30. But if the possibility opens up to where Louisiana doesn't need a second majority-minority district, would the possibility open up that they would redo the entire map? And, based off of geography, we might not have anything based off of majority or minority, but closer to a geographical representation of what our state looks like.
I think they'll redraw the whole thing. I think the district that they drew when Bell Edwards was governor was a good district. I mean, it tweaked everything. We got to tweak it because North Louisiana is where a lot of the population loss has become. Those rural areas, there's no jobs up there. Right. They've lost a lot of people. That don't mean New Orleans hasn't lost a lot too, but they've lost a lot of people. So you have to tweak it enough to make it right. And I think the district would be very similar to the one they had before the Cleo Fields district. And that's what I think they're going towards. But, I want them to do it this month. You want them to do it this month. I know some senators and House members are ready. But according to what I'm hearing, Cameron Henry and Speaker of the House, the VA says, give me 53 votes and I'll do it. And Henry's saying, give me 20 votes and I'll do it. But on the flip side, they're telling people we're not doing it. So people are backing off now.
How much of this just has to do with fatigue and part-time legislators?
Brian, you can always say that's part of it. I think what happens is they're taking advice because they got any built-in excuse. The White House says we're going to use Louisiana to go get rid of the Voting Rights Act, and I get that. But why does that have anything to do with us doing what's right with our district?
Right.
Texas is going to do a redrawing of a district. They're going to add 5 Republican House seats. 5 Republican House seats, Brian. By the way, Brian, I also have a clip today I'll play sometimes of this Congressman of the United States Senator asking the Democrats about illegal immigration because we count everybody when we ought to count everybody, but then pull out the citizens and let that determine how many House members we have in each state.
Right.
And they admit that illegal immigration helped the Democrats by as much as 20-plus seats just because we count everybody, and that's how we do the district and electoral college votes. So if you would get rid of that, the Democrats would lose 20 votes, and then you do something about this Voting Rights Act in the South only is where it's at. They would probably lose close to 30 seats to the Republicans. It's a big deal.
Where's the outside pressure here to rattle some cages to get Louisiana moving?
Well, I think if they had a redistricting deal, I think the governor had to lead the charge, and I think that would do it. But if your leadership, and let me say when I say leadership, the governor, the Senate president, and the Speaker of the House, the most powerful people in the legislature, they determine this. If nothing's moving, it's because of them. And I'm not being ugly. I don't care if it was Bell Edwards and Clay Shea Snyder and Cortez. When they were the leadership, things move and die with those 3. And I think that's what we see it. And you just be blunt. If you don't have the votes, some of these people are being told to stare down. I'll be honest with you. And I got this from very reliable sources that the committee chairs met with the NCAA in the beginning of the meeting said we're not talking about redistricting.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come bring. We're not doing it. So no matter what. Then he had two people come in and talk about why we don't need to do it, and then they moved on. But you got that, Brian. Your leadership's telling you what to do.
Well, and the part that gets me, Moon, is like with the slim majority the Republicans have in Congress, there wouldn't be more national pressure to put a new map on paper immediately. I mean for 2026, like to put a new map on paper as soon as is humanly possible, because you need to go after every seat you possibly can.
Yeah, I think you do, Brian, and that's why I think, and I hope you agree with me, Louisiana, quit waiting on the federal government and the feds and the attorneys and the Supreme Court to tell us what to do. Why don't we do what we think is best and right and go do what we need to do for our state?
No.
If they want to override us, they can, but at least show some effort of doing what we think is right.
But that's what
We're
I'm
not
saying.
even showing any effort right now when it comes to redistricting.
No, but that's what I'm saying, Moon, is why is that not the national party? Why is that not the RNC saying this is what's right? Get after it now. Like what you and I already agree on, Moon. Why isn't that echoed from a national level?
Well, that's why I brought up the point about our sitting Congress. Where are they at?
Where are they?
It's silent. It's like crickets, man. And I think they'd get their orders from the White House. This is my opinion. At least White House lawyers.
He is Moon Griffon. You catch him from 9 to 11 right here on Talk 107.3 FM. What else you got on the show today?
Well, we got that. I want to play the tape of this senator. Got Dustin Poirier is going to join us in Tim Metcalf at 10:30. There's a big backpack giveaway here, but I want everybody to know, and everybody knows Dustin, and we'll have him on for a segment or two, and we'll talk a little fight news with him as well. As he really retired. You know, in that business, sometimes they're retired, sometimes they're not.
Oh, my goodness. What can of worms are you opening?
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I got a guy with the hair products and the carbon capture, too, so that's all interesting.
Hair products and carbon capture?
Oh, yeah, you don't want to miss this.
Oh, no. This, yeah, I like that big old can of White Rain Grandma used to have.
I think somebody's bringing up some good information. People can buy it or not.
Awesome stuff. Coming up half an hour from right now. Always appreciate the time, brother.
All right, man. Thank you. God bless, man. Glad you're back.
Thank you. Here comes news on Talk 107.3 FM. Oh, coming up after news, James Golden is going to join us, host of the new show, The Rush Hour, which you will find right here on Talk 107.3 FM. If you don't know him by James Golden, you might recognize the name Bo Snerdley.
That's Snerdley.
Oh, can you take a request for the next bumper?
I'm always up for it.
My city was gone.
Oh, the Pretenders?
Correct.
This is associated with the show, right? The Rush on Motion?
No, it was Rushes. It's not gonna be.
That's what I was literally looking up Rush Limbaugh songs. I didn't know what would be like associated with. Yeah, when you came in, that's what I was doing on YouTube. I was like literally trying to find something. Like, let me see if I can find some music that kind of ties some things together here. Like that.
Oh shit, we meet tonight.
The bass in this song.
Oh, I know.
Man, I play bass, but anytime I hear like a good slap or pluck, I'm like, Hey, don't tempt me with a good time, Matt.
What
Next
happened?
bumper, play some old school Hootie. That's one band I don't have in the rotation. All right, what's a song then? What would be your recommendation? Hootie had some good songs, man. So many good songs. Underrated. And Matt, while we're on the subject, are you a fan of Darius Rucker's solo material?
Like crushed Wagon Wheel.
Just while we're at it, yeah. Just say it.
Like Wagon Wheel belongs to him now.
Yeah, it's so good. A friend of mine went to see Mumford and Sons recently, and they did a cover of Wagon Wheel. And they said it was really good. Really good stuff.
This entire string is about friggin' the contract and nothing about the damn show. Get out of my damn.
Have you ever seen the Key and Peele sketch with Hootie and the Blowfish?
I don't remember.
Where he's just, yeah. Jordan Peele is playing Darius Rucker. But they just keep referring to him as Hootie. He's like, no, my name is Darius. He's like, Hootie. It's like, no, I'm Darius. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think he's just like a member of the audience. I think he's the one who originally calls him like Hootie. He's like, no,
You know how they got that name?
Hootie and the Blowfish? I want to know. I think I know. I watched enough behind the music, but I forgot.
I think there was a kid in their class who used to like puff up his cheeks.
Oh yeah, it was something like that. Yeah.
It was something like that. And so they call him the Blowfish.
Yeah. See.
Hey, Hootie.
He's like, I'm Darius. He went. Speaking of Hootie and the Blowfish, who's that again? Kelly Clarkson? Yeah. It's a good song. He's assuming he's calling in, right?
He's supposed to be.
No. That'd be cool. Yeah, good. I assume it's a good show. Yeah. Oh yeah. But that was a good show. Mm.
837 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along, expecting James Golden on the hotline any moment now. That might be him right there. Let's go ahead and grab that, as I've been looking forward to this for some time now. We've got... All right. We have okay, so we do have him on the hotline. That's good to know. All right, we've got a new show we're adding to the lineup as of this afternoon. You're going to find it here on Talk 107.3 FM every chance we can at 6 p.m. We have some other contractual obligations that get in the way, but we wanted to bring him to you as soon as is humanly possible. And I want to welcome him to the show right now. His name is James Golden. You might know him as Bo Snerdley. James, how are you this morning?
I am fine. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Proud to welcome the Rush Hour to the Talk 107.3 lineup. Tell the folks all about the show.
Well, I'm so happy to be here. I've been doing a program, within the very year that Rush passed away. It began as a local program in New York on WABC and then spread out through syndication, which is why I'm with you now. It's part of my background. I've been doing for many years. I did a show on the weekends, even when I was producing the Rush Show. So this is sort of back to where it all began. But it's just a wonderful experience, Brian.
The presentation with the James Golden show or the Rush Hour with James Golden is. This is your own. This is not, if anyone's expecting like a Rush 2.0 or a replication of, James Golden is James Golden. I mean, James Golden will always be Bo Snerdley, but you are still you.
Right. And so we do a lot of things. Even when I was with Rush all those years, as listeners will know, he and I had differences of opinion, and which most of the time I ended up having to say, you know what, you're right about this. But anyway, all of us see the world differently. And so one of the things that I'm really pleased about is having the freedom to do what I would like to do on the radio, which is, of course, talk politics, of course, talk culture. But music is a huge part of my life. I speak about that, too. We speak about all kinds of issues that are important, just as Rush had issues that he brought to the table that were important to his life, the golfing, his background in sports, and all of it. We all bring to us what is important to us in our lives. And so it's just a wonderful thing to be able to have a platform to do that and to be able to share it.
We're talking with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, bringing you the Rush Hour, starting on Talk 107.3, starting this evening at 6 p.m. James, I want to ask you a little bit about that mix right there. And I've actually, a little backstory here. I got to meet you, I guess it was like 2 years ago or so. You came to Baton Rouge, spoke over at an event at the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, and I really got a behind-the-scenes peek behind the curtain peek of how your personality is reflected on the radio there. And if I can, completely mistranslate everything you had to say, while politics are important, it's not our whole life.
You are not mistranslating me. You are absolutely, look, it's so interesting, Brian, that you asked that. I just had this conversation with a very dear friend of mine who was upset with political circumstances that are going on in New York. And yes, I am passionate about politics, but but politics is not our whole lives.
Right.
Many of us, what is the purpose of human life? To many of us, it is trying to find a deeper spiritual connection with God. To others of us, we have other things that are important. Our family, of course. Look, we can be as pro-USA, as pro-America. We can be as pro our quote-unquote side. But we should never get to the point where we lose the largest sight of God's majesty in this creation and try to find our place in it. Also to lead full and balanced lives, to treat other people with respect, even if they think the diametric opposite of what we do. Politics is not our whole lives. And I think one of the things that could really help a lot of situations, especially people suffering from TDS, just back it down a little bit. Just focus on some of the other things, a balance with it. And also just try to respect other people's points of view and not walk with the assumption that even everything that we know and we believe to be true, that is the only way of thinking about something.
How do we get there, James? How do we get to where, we're in a constant battle of I'll put down my sword right after you put down yours?
somebody has to move first. I mean, I think we should live our look. Whatever one, and I'm not here to preach or to do, but if you go through the world, you go through the history of the world, the political theater has always been a part of it, and people were just as passionate in other times, in other countries, in other spaces. We've seen the Roman Empire rise and fall. We've seen the Ottoman Empire rise and fall. The circumstances of the world will be the world. So I think we have to focus on something deeper while being passionate, while playing our part, while doing it. But we also have to keep our eye on the prize. Again, that we are part of a creation that is incredible, beyond the scope of our imaginations. And if we focus on trying to find our place in it, I think that helps us mitigate or helps us find that balance in some of these other things.
Very cool stuff. We're talking with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley. Let's talk a little bit about Bo Snerdley. I mean, it's a moniker you're never going to shake. Is it something that you would ever want to shake? Because I feel like that's an irreplaceable role.
No. I loved it. I think all of us, especially Miss Rush, so much. Every day on social media, you see people wanting, what would Rush think about this? What would Rush think about that? Or putting up videos or quoting him. So my association with Rush, with that program, with the great people that I worked with all those 30-some-odd years, is something I would never, ever want to shake away or shake apart. It is a part of my life. And I was honored to work with such an amazing talent, and I was honored for the rest of my life to be associated with the show and with our community of ditto heads that still appreciate what Rush did, not only for the industry, but for this country.
Let's talk about ditto heads for just a minute, James. Is talk radio specifically doing it right to carry on Rush's legacy? Because I feel like we've got so many that are trying to replicate what he did, and they're just missing the mark by a little bit.
Well, see, I don't know, because I'm in no position to judge, to be honest with you. I'm on the air 6 days a week, and the show prep is intense. My world is wrapped around it. So I don't get a chance to listen to most people. Now, the people that I do know about, the people that I do kind of follow and see what they're doing on social media, look, we all have to approach things the best way we can approach them. I try not to criticize. Look, if people are successful, I try to just learn from whatever it is that they're doing successful. There are things in every aspect of media that I find to be not to the way that I might to turn off. For instance, on social media, people tend to lie, to put it frankly, about certain things for clickbait. Right. Of course, Rush never did that. He was always in this relentless pursuit of the truth. But that goes back to who you are as a person. I think all of us need to, if we approach life ethically, if we approach life just doing the best we can, then I think chances are whatever our work product is will reflect that. And that's what we want, not just for the talk radio industry, but for every industry, to get back to a sense of where people are ethical and care about what they do. And Rush was the epitome of that. He did not like to get anything wrong. He did his homework every single day, even when he was suffering at the end of his life. He still did this, carried this amazing workload. And so I think if we look at the example of what he did, how he performed in his work, then people in this industry who have that same kind of appetite for the truth and for excellence will just continue to take part in that legacy.
Well, I think one of the biggest things to get misunderstood about Rush and what made him was there was a level of humor to everything he did. He didn't lead with anger all the time. He led with humor. Some of it was very much over the top. Some of it, played into the overall persona. But he's funny at his core.
He was never mean-spirited in his humor. Now, he used to say he'd like to demonstrate the absurd by being absurd. So some of the things that he did, when you say over the top, they were humorous in a way that nobody else did it. And that was truly funny. Also, one of the things that he did, and this is what propelled his show to become number one, in the early days, people did not really mock the policies of the left. It was just assumed that, well, these are the mainstream policies. And so when he began mocking them and looking and making fun of things, like I just remember off the top of my head, just triggered, when he started noticing all these stories that said SUVs were killing people. It wasn't the SUVs themselves with a murder vendetta against people. It was people doing actions. So he would make fun of things like that. And it really did change. It changed, by the way, the complexion of political discourse in this country, because the left was never subject to the same kind of mockery politically that was inflicted on the right for decades.
He is James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, coming your way this evening right here on Talk 107.3 FM. James, we're proud to have you on board the lineup here, man. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
And I'm sorry it was a little bit late. I apologize. Brian, it's such a pleasure to be with you.
You're
and
good.
You keep up the good work. Hope to speak with you again.
Yes, you absolutely will. Always appreciate the time. Coming up this evening, 6 p.m. We got Tiger Reg Radio on Tuesdays, but it's 6 p.m. And then, hey, if you're out and about late at night, we're going to replay it at 11 p.m. every weeknight. So be on the lookout for that. And, yeah, I'm hyped about it, y'all. I got to see him speak. There was an event at Lobby a couple years ago. I don't remember what the event was, but I walked away floored. I walked away absolutely floored with the message that, if you want to carry on Rush's legacy, be you. Be you. Don't try to be him. Be you. And that's what he's going to be doing right here on Talk 107.3. Here's your money now. All right. My watch is telling me to stand up. Oh. It's going to be the content there. I want to do my Mathern's live read first. Come with a bumper, Mathern's live read, then I'll toss back to that. And then I'll toss to Lust for Life. I'll come back from that, and then I'll toss to Lust for Life. Hey, I did it. I stood up. My watch has confirmed it. By the way, I'm going to want both of those bumpers on Facebook Live as well because they're part of content. $8:56 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. About to hand off to Moon Griffon here in just a little bit. I do need to remind you about the folks over at Matherns. Whether you're downtown, whether you're on campus, whether you're on Highland Road, just west of Kenilworth, Matherns has got you covered. They revamped the app, y'all. The Matherns Rewards app, they have revamped it, and one of the things I love about it is, number one, you get front and center access to all the deals and coupons and specials they've got going on. But on top of that, though, if you're mapping out your grocery shopping a little bit, which, sometimes you do, you get access to not just the coupons that are there, but how much longer they last. So if you've got something you were shopping for, you're like, maybe I want that, or maybe I'll hold off till next time, you know how much long that coupon's good for. So if you shop weekly and you see something that's got 13 days left on it, you're like, well, I wasn't out of this yet, so I'll hold off till next time. Or, well, we still have plenty of that in the cabinet, I'll hold off till next time. So, something as simple as, say, mac and cheese, and the Food Club Deluxe mac and cheese has 6 days left on the coupon. Roll it over, get it then. Or get it now when you've got deals like a free bag of Supreme Rice when you spend $10 or more. And who's not spending $10 or more, right? It's your grocery items, for crying out loud. You can shop online, get access to their catering menu, and all the deals as well. It's the Matherns Rewards app. Download it today. I want to thank everybody who hopped on the hotline today. Really, really good stuff throughout. Nan Hayworth in the first hour, Medical Monday. Mike Manning telling the story behind the scenes of LSU football coming out to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. That was really good. Of course, we had Alice from NOLA Company on with us. We had Moon, and then we just had James Golden right there. And JP, I gotta tell you, man, I I did not realize how fast I was going to get nostalgic.
Yeah.
About that Rush Limbaugh bumper. It's great to hear from Bo Snerdley, but to hear music is therapeutic to me.
Oh, absolutely.
It can put you in a time. If hit it, you guys still got it queued up. Let's go. Hit it again. Oh. dude was the GOAT. Always will be. Like, without question. Just that song. So there were two national shows that I listened to growing up, right? Two national shows bringing me into this business. One of them was the Rush Limbaugh show. And then on the sports side, man, I was brought up on Jim Rome.
Okay, yeah.
Oh. So Jim's still at it. Romey's still at it. That's, I want to say he's over with CBS Sports now. And, it's not the extended intro right there. Oh, man.
Oh, okay.
No, they got a longer intro version out there.
Oh, really?
But yeah, it's you give me the Pretenders and you give me Iggy Pop, and I just walk down a path of man. Young Brian dreaming to do radio one day.
There you go.
Both of them right there. The other one was everything else was local. Everything else was local. So that's
very good.
Yeah, awesome stuff. All right, it was having James Golden as part of this lineup right here. I'm not trying to oversell it, but it's kind of a big deal to me.
Oh yeah, man.
So
it's golden.
Well, but all right, we got to get out on that note. Moon Griffon's next. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, I'm going to bring my guy in here to do his...
Yeah. So, Facebook.
Oh, yeah, Facebook. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
We'll see y'all then.